Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a long-term market update and analysis for Matic. We'll talk about some very bullish signs on the Matic Bitcoin ratio and the fact that this is nearing the longer-term range highs and all-time highs right around 6,100 Satoshis. We're also going to talk about the Matic USD pair and some positive things starting to play out on this chart, with most notably the 200-day average that is starting to slope back upwards. We're also going to cover some key levels of support, resistance, and this range that we've been in since entering right here in July. So I hope you guys do enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I will leave a link to that in the description below. I'm fairly active over there if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. So with Matic, I really do want to start off by talking about that 200-day average and some positive things, noting that this has actually been a pretty strong level of resistance going back during the bear market. And you can see what I'm talking about with when we first lost it as support, really in this January to February timeframe. You can see that Matic started to come back below this. And in fact, we flipped it right into resistance and we had these rejections right off of this moving average. So the first rejection right here in March, we had another move up. Later on in March and into April, we had that second rejection. And then from there, we started to break below the support and then really starting to roll over here, entering this longer term decline. And then we also got a retest of that level right here in August, again holding resistance, rejecting off of it, and then we came back down to retest these range lows. And we did have a few more retests again coming up to this level, ultimately not being able to reclaim it and get back above it until this move right here in the middle of October. And right then, Matic actually had a pretty quick surge, having this very brief deviation and fake out from this range, but we've come back down, we're back inside the range. And what I want to focus on here is the fact that Matic has started to flip this moving average into support. So we had this first retest on that move back into the range right here in the beginning of November. And I'm going to change the color back to green because it's acting as support. And then we had another retest right here later on in November. And then since then, we've continued to hold this as support. We've seen the bounces off of it. And we're starting to see the 200-day average start to slope off here. It's rolling up and it's now starting to slope back upwards for the first time since all the way back here in Q1 of this year. And that's a great sign because the 200-day average is a good longer-term indicator of the momentum and the trending environment. And when you do have it starting to slope upwards while it's acting as support, that can really, the combination of those two things can really lead to some bullish price action and an uptrend. So if we do have a retest of that moving average, look to see if Matic can continue to hold that as support. And beyond that, I would say look out to the range highs as a resistance. So that level is coming in right around $1.04. And this was the level of support right here in April, just before this big capitulation down. This was the point where we started to stall. We saw some demand really start to step in, but ultimately that level failed. And then we had that drop down lower. And then this level flipped right into resistance on these retests throughout August. So you can see that we had those rejections. That was where sellers and supply started to step in. And then we did have that deviation above that level again in November. So really look to that area, again, around $1.04 if we do have a prolonged and extended move back up. And I would say if we do reclaim that and we do get back above the range highs on a move that takes us up sustainably where we can flip it into support on any event like this, that would be a very bullish sign. And from there, if we can actually make a higher high on the daily chart, that is going to be a great sign that we might be starting to enter the new signs of an uptrend where we have higher lows, higher highs, and we're really breaking through some of those resistance levels. So definitely pay attention to that into the next few weeks. And a good catalyst for this is maybe if the Matic Bitcoin ratio, which by the way looks very bullish here, if this continues to break out, a lot of relative strength could flow into Matic, in which we could see a very probable scenario getting back above the range highs and then breaking that into support. And then from there, again, continuing on that uptrend. So look out to the Matic Bitcoin ratio, which again is nearing the range highs, coming up to this level right around 6,100 Satoshis. That was the area of resistance all the way back on this all-time high from May of 2021. Big move up, big rejection off that. And then we came back down to retest the support at the range lows. And ever since then, we've really just been oscillating from the highs down to the lows, to the highs, to the lows, and we're back at the highs. So this is our time where we can really look to see if Matic starts to break it back above this, make new all-time highs, and then enter price discovery. The last attempt that we had right here in December of 2021 ultimately fell short. We failed to break out above this level, and we came back down, forming this retest of the bottom, the range lows, even having a deviation here in which we broke below it for a few weeks, but Matic was able to come right back into it, flip it into support, and then have a move taking us back, reclaiming the middle of the range, and ultimately forming that into resistance. Now, beyond that, we also do have the 20-week average, the red line, that is sloping upwards, which is a great sign to see. When this has been sloping upwards, it really gives us a good feel for the trend and the momentum, which is to that upside direction once again. So really pay attention to this range, and if we can get a breakout above this on a move that takes us outside of this range, forming new all-time highs, that is going to be a great sign that we would be entering price discovery. We would no longer have those overhanging levels of resistance, and we could really see Matic start to outperform Bitcoin into the coming months, and that would be a great sign because that relative strength would really, really help out Matic on the USD pair. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on for the next few months for Matic. I hope you guys did enjoy the long-term analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. Again, I will leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.